HubSpot Forms Listener is the most powerful way to monitor and collect information about how users interact with HubSpot Forms on your landing pages or directly on your website. As the user interacts with your regular forms or with your pop-up forms, the listener will push structured information into the browser's data layer, and you will then be able to access it with a tool such as Tag Manager to power your website tracking. To walk through some of the features at a high level, the listener will push data into the data layer when a form loads on a page, when a form is fully submitted, or when a form fails to submit due to a validation error. These same features are available specifically for HubSpot pop-up forms, which are notoriously difficult to track. And in general, this allows you to not only move away from tracking form activity based on thank you pages, but it'll really allow you to enhance your website data collection. Now, it's important to note when you first turn this listener on, there's going to be no information in the variables screen. As listeners collect activity on your website, it will include data layer variables, and the names of those variables will become available here so that you can use them to write custom rules and do other things inside the ListenLayer interface. So let's turn on some features, and we're going to jump to a website and take a look at what this listener can do. So here we are on our website, and we just loaded this with the Google Tag Manager debug view turned on. But before we dive into that, let's take a look at the console. We'll notice that we have an object that's been pushed into the data layer, and that includes information about the various listeners that we have turned on. In this case, we can see that our HubSpot Forms listener is turned on, and we should start to see information now as users interact with the website. So let's dive into HubSpot Forms. We'll load a page here that has multiple forms on it. And what you'll see is that we're actually pushing an event called HS Form Loaded every time a HubSpot form loads on the page. And again, that is coming from this feature. Each of these features will correlate to one or multiple data layer events, and you can actually find those events here and edit settings for those if they are available. So looking back at our website, let's try to submit a form without the appropriate information. You can see we push a data layer event called HS Form Validation Failed. It's also important to note that Tag Manager is reading our data layer, and all of this information is available to power our website tracking. So let's put in HubSpot will allow us to in some emails here, submit an actual form. What you'll notice in this case is that we were redirected to a thank you page. And we'd much rather not track forms based on thank you pages because it's not very accurate. We would rather use this data layer event called HS Form Submitted, which was just pushed into the data layer. Now, note that each data layer event is going to have a set of variables called automatic values, and then it has a location for specific custom values to be populated into the data layer. Those custom values can be defined using a feature called custom data layer values, which you can learn more about if you dig into that feature.